Alrighty, what is up, everyone? It is Jose, aka Gerard, and we are here today with something new. Actually, usually what I do is I tend to stream a little bit of some Pokemans, which I'm probably gonna end up doing after this. But I wanted to kind of touch on a specific topic before I went ahead and did that today. I wanted to just talk a little bit about um, One Piece. It's one of my favorite manga right now, and anime. I truly do enjoy it, and honestly, I can't wait to see how the whole story continues to go, especially where we kind of are in the story right now. Um, what's up, Leo? How you doing? Thank you for stopping by. Today is not your typical um, gaming stream. I will do that, but just a little later. I kind of wanted to get this done out of the way first because I've been meaning to get this done, and it's essentially just a rant, if you will, about some of the theories and reaches that I have on the One Piece universe right now. Um, I'm sure everyone has a million and a half of them, but like as I see things happening in this story, I just feel like my window is closing for like getting some of these ideas out. So I wanted to just kind of talk about them a little bit here today, and then once I kind of get that all out of my chest, and I gave my spiel on freaking anything that has to do with that, then right into some Pokemon. So, um, but yeah, so I actually made a small list of just basic subjects to talk about in regards to this. Um, and honestly, if there are going to be any viewers that stop by who actually watch One Piece, or are caught up or have their own ideas, then I feel like that's really good to kind of have that dialogue with, because at that point you can just kind of get some back and forth on some of these ideas, because even though I do believe a lot of these theories to be true, it's not always 100%, especially since a lot of them I feel like are reaches. Nonetheless, yeah, so I essentially really, there's I don't even know what to call it. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. HOSS00 was a long one there. I appreciate that. Um, but yeah, so this one's gonna definitely be an interesting one for sure. I know I have like my Pokemon stuff in the back. That's just because I'm gonna be playing that next. Um, but yeah, so as I said, I got about 7 different topics that I'm gonna be talking about here in terms of theories, and then I'll kind of work my way from there into the final one, which is the 7th one, which is essentially where the series is kind of going. We'll just kind of go from there, really. So, but yeah, let's see what we got going on here. All good, my friend. Came here to support. I appreciate your support, man. I really, really do. It's nice to know that I got some people stopping by, showing some love. It's always nice. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Let's see. Subject number 1 that I want to talk about here today is going to be my second most favorite theory thus far, and that's going to be the story with Jinbei. I believe, and today is August 23rd, and I've made this theory for like 2 weeks now, but I'm finally posting it on here. I believe Jinbei will die within this or the following act of the Wano series. Yes, that close, that soon, that impactful, yeah. And you might be like, whoa, we're starting with the reaches. Yeah, we kind of are. The reason being to me, there's been just too much kind of being thrown our way in terms of the preparation to have Jinbei in the crew. And I don't want to say it's uncommon, but if you see how everyone else has joined the crew, it's kind of all been either fairly within the arc, within the following arc, or even from the beginning with Brooke. The first thing he said was join the crew, you know? So, and then if you go and look at what's going on with Jinbei, you see that Jinbei has been teased to join this crew for quite some time now, since like the death of Ace back then at the war. You saw that Jinbei and Luffy had a connection based on Ace, who died. So I just feel like there was like a lot of foreshadowing pieces here. Now this theory is sort of split into two. There's a second part to this theory which kind of goes in later, which I'll talk about because there's a lot of these theories are connected that I have. I'm gonna go over 7 or 6 here today, but there's another person who I think could be the alternate case for death, but it seems a little What's up, Charlie? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, you're not caught up, but a lot of this stuff is honestly prior to current stage. Most of the stuff I'm going to talk about now is prior to it's not like new stuff, so it shouldn't be a spoiler. The ideas maybe could be a spoiler to you if you don't want to have these theories thrown at you, but honestly, it's none of this stuff that I'm saying, right? Well, except for like the semi-last one. I think that's the only one that's kind of maybe be somewhat of a spoiler, but we'll leave that for that. But yeah, so for Jinbei, there's been a lot of traction showing that there's a lot of work to get Jinbei to join this crew. And every time he gets so close, something else happens to keep him away. And honestly, it's been taking way too long for him to join. There's been a lot of stuff going on that has shown that freaking Jinbei has been trying to join, and I feel the reason this is happening is because I feel like this is Oda's way of making us have a special bond with Jinbei without him fully being in the crew yet. I feel like Oda is doing this thing where he's making us like fall for him, be happy that he joins, be like, oh, finally, after all these arcs, after all these acts, we finally have Jinbei joining us, and man, has this been long awaited, all these close calls and everything. But I feel like we're so happy about that, we're not paying attention to the fact that there's no way in hell he should be in this crew right now, because he should be dead multiple times over. There were so many times where he should have died and he didn't. And let's start with the very first one, when he saved Luffy. Luffy died because the fist of Akainu went through the chest and scarred. I'm sorry, not Luffy. Ace died. The Akainu's fist went through the chest of Ace, piercing him, creating a hole in his chest to a guy whose devil fruit is fire. Okay. And he killed him with that blow. And then he proceeded to do something very similar, except in my opinion would be even more impactful, when he attacked Luffy, and that's how he got the scar on his chest, because he did the same punch, this time with the flow of magma going through it. And it was so much that it actually bursted through Jinbei's chest. The fist And the magma bursted through Jinbei's chest so badly that it scarred Luffy, giving him that X on his chest. It went through his body first to reach his body. And this guy's a pretty big guy, okay? And Jinbei somehow, some way survived that. Something that a guy who's made of fire couldn't survive. Thanks for stopping by. Someone who's made of fire couldn't survive. He does. He's made of water, which of course, water. But nonetheless, just the whole concept here is right off the bat, friggin' Jinbei escaped death, and honestly was better off than most other characters that I can think of. I don't know how he did not die there. If Ace died, I thought that he should too, honestly. They were both in prison, they were both weakened, they were both tortured essentially, so honestly, just the disadvantage really went to him right there. Going forward from there, Jinbei has had to work through deals with Big Mom to essentially stay alive, keep his current pirate crew alive, and then make his way out of her pirate crew to join Luffy's crew. And I have a theory on how he managed to get out of that crew alive and in one piece. But that goes into one of the later theories because, like I said, a lot of these connect. A lot of these theories connect. So, there is no explanation to how Jinbei was able to do the roulette thing, not have any damage to him, not be missing a limb, not be missing some life or something. We don't know any of that. He came back to Luffy perfectly fine without a scratch on him, which to me was a little sus. Now, okay, the concept here is he's not afraid of death because he knows what he has to do. That's perfect. I agree with that. Jinbei is a badass like that, and yes, I agree that Jinbei should definitely be able to survive a lot of things and make it through to make it to that point. Now, that doesn't take away from the fact that Big Mom herself physically could overpower him. She could absolutely destroy him. Not just him, but his entire crew as they're getting away. And you know that they could have, because the Big Mom and her ship with all her top children went after Luffy anyway. And somehow Jinbei was ahead, which he really wasn't because Big Mom had gotten there first. Big Mom got there first. Then their ship fell into the water. Then Luffy did this whole thing where he finally went to go in and fight Kaido at the very end. Then Jinbei shows up. Where was Jinbei this whole time? Why was Jinbei held back? Why didn't Jinbei get to Luffy before Big Mom got to Luffy if he managed to escape her and their claws first? There's no explanation to how he was able to do this. I just think there's a lot of stuff going on between him and Big Mom. I honestly feel like Jinbei has a lot of knowledge in regards to the truth behind the Gomu Gomu no fruit and Luffy himself. This sort of, I'm just going to tie it up really quickly here because it does pertain to this a little bit. There definitely is a lot of information and things that people keep saying Luffy is like Joy Boy or the reincarnation of Joy Boy, or Luffy is somehow tied to the sun god or something like that, which, all of that can make sense, but I feel like there's so much more going on behind Luffy's character himself that we don't know. And I'm starting to put the pieces together here in terms of this theory. Anyway, let me continue here. I know like a lot of like famous like YouTubers do this and they do really good because they have like a script and everything, and they pretty much shrunk it down to just the main concept, and they got like all those visuals. At this point I'm spitfiring. This is just a live stream and I'm just kind of going with the flow here, so bear with me. But Hopefully, if you guys are watching and listening to this, you're kind of hearing some of these ideas and they're just kind of working in your head, and maybe you're going like, huh, okay, I get it. Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, this is theories and reaches, because a lot of this is a lot of reaches. But all right. So the next piece here is there has got to be something that is more prominent in regards to Jinbei's goal with Luffy. And I think that what that is very similar to Shanks's goal with Luffy. And we saw what Shanks was willing to do for Luffy once he attained the Gomu Gomu no fruit. And very similarly, Jinbei was able to do the same for Luffy by taking that blow through his chest for Luffy, a guy who he just met. So if they both were able to sort of sacrifice themselves in that way for Luffy, after just meeting him or just having that connection with him, there's got to be a reason why. There's got to be something that puts them two in the same scope of that. And it's not just Luffy's character. There's got to be more to that, and I think is that they both know the truth behind the devil fruit, or maybe even Luffy himself. So, this to me is the reason why I feel Jinbei is willing to do anything and everything to save Luffy's life. And so, with that being said, I feel that Oda is going to use Jinbei's death as a martyr to catapult Luffy into ascension into the next level. I think that some of the more famous streamers have made fantastic points about the raid failing. I believe that's true as well, to a certain degree. Not fully failing, but I do believe that Luffy will lose again. And Luffy will not just lose, he will lose near death lose. And I think that this is where the sacrifice comes in to make sure that Luffy does not die. And I think that this is where Jinbei makes the big move. I feel that if this happens, it's going to be so critical, because the way I'm imagining this fight to go is Luffy fights Kaido one more time. Kaido manages to beat Luffy one more time. He's going to do the final strike. Jinbei jumps in the middle and takes the final blow. Jinbei is now the one who is going to perish. The crew is watching as this is happening. The crew then are all in tears, and Luffy is about to lose his mind again, the same way he did when Ace died. However, before he dies, Jinbei's last words to Luffy will be, "Remember what I told you in the archipelago. Yes, you are losing me, but who do you still have left to fight for? Who do you still have who is defending you and on your side, and that you as a captain have to care for and do your part for?" And I think this is where the flashbacks begin. And this is where a very important part comes in, because this is where Luffy's crew then becomes the crew that holds off Kaido, while Luffy has this moment with Jinbei. And Luffy's crew will be the 9 prophesized to fight and defeat Kaido, or, to do some damage and hold him off, while Luffy does his portion to really let those final words from Jinbei sink in and do some catastrophic damage. I feel like once this happens, Luffy will then finally ascend and awaken his devil fruit powers. I think that before this, he will acquire Gear 5th, per se. But even then, I think this is where he will have awakened his power. So I do believe Luffy will get 2 power-ups in the next arc and a half. Which is crazy, I know. And the other thing is, I know people are thinking, well, Oda isn't going to let somebody else die. Luffy's already said that he's never going to let another member of his die. I understand that, but at the same time, technically, Jinbei hasn't fully joined the crew. Yes, he's been said so, but they haven't had the ceremonious drink. And right before they had the drink, they put their cups down and went into battle. And that's such a significant piece for me, because they put the cup down, they went into battle, and they're supposed to have that drink afterwards. And I truly believe that this drink will happen, but it won't be with Jinbei there. I think it'll be a very similar drink that Sabo had for Ace when Ace died. And I think it'll be from Luffy this time to doing it for Jinbei. I feel like that's the whole thing. I think that's why Oda has been teasing us about Jinbei joining us, to make us think he's gonna join, he's about to join, he's almost there, he's literally at the tip, he's right there with the guys finally, he's finally got this arc, this battle with them. This is his way of saying, here, you got the best one, the one you can fall in love with, but I'm gonna take it from you. Because that's what I feel is going to bring the most emotional impact for Luffy to truly ascend to the next stage as the hero, the protagonist of the story. We got to remember, Luffy, even with the current power-ups he has, he's not at the stage needed not only to take down 2 emperors, but then to have to fight another emperor, plus the Marines, plus the Celestial Dragons, plus whatever other adversaries comes his way, not to mention Blackbeard. So Luffy definitely needs to grow more, and he's got a very short time to do it. I feel like this is going to be the catapult to put him into that next stage. I will touch on Jinbei's situation one more time, but it will be towards the end because there's another part to this, but I'll talk about it then. But yeah, this is why I believe Jinbei will die here. I believe that there's just been so much to show this to us, and I feel like this is Oda's version of Jiraiya's death, per se. You could think Ace would be the one, but no, I think Ace is more like the third Hokage death, if you will. It was a very emotional moment, very impactful. We all loved him, we all cared for him, and he died fairly early on, and it kind of set the pace for how the series was gonna go. I feel like that was Ace's, and the comparison. I feel like this is Jiraiya's death. This is where things get crazy, which is perfect timing because, as you know, in Naruto, when Jiraiya's death happened, the series just catapulted to the final war and just how everything went up just to the climax from that point on. I feel like this might be Oda's way to mark this pivotal moment in this series, and I feel like that's how he's going to do it. He's going to really hit us in the gut with this to really make us feel this new arc starting, this war, and to really build the importance, because Luffy is going to be at a place where he absolutely cannot let somebody else die. He absolutely cannot. He will not take it. It's not one of those, like right now it feels like, oh, Sabo's gonna die, or he's hurt, or he's captured. Oh, we gotta go save him. We can't let that happen. That's great. Or you could be like, we just lost Jinbei, someone who was about to join our crew. What, Sabo too? No, absolutely no. That's enough. We cannot let this happen. We can put this whole journey to go and, find the treasure. Screw the treasure right now. What I need to do is make sure no one else I care about dies. And I feel like this is that oomph needed to make sure that, this goes that direction. So, yeah, that's that's my Jinbei theory. That's my whole concept on why or how I believe it's gonna go with Jinbei, and hopefully he doesn't die. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong, because Jinbei, I haven't said this yet, but Jinbei is actually my favorite character. I love Jinbei. Jinbei, from the moment he appeared, I was like, that's my dude. Even when I was in Japan, all I would do is get his figures. So, Jinbei, that's what's up, man. I'm all about him, so I hope he doesn't die. But if he does, I feel like his death would mean so much to the series. I feel like it would be such a huge catapult to the series to really push Luffy where he needs to go. He would have one of the biggest impacts on Luffy as a character, and for character development, and for the crew, because I feel like the crew tends to be a very happy, very funny kind of crew. I feel like this is going to be what causes the crew to turn into a more serious note. This is what's going to make the crew go like, wow, another adventure. Because yeah, they had that phase where they turned from a group of friends to a group of pirates, but I feel like they still need to have that moment where they go from a group of pirates to a group of family, I guess you could say. Like, yes, they were a family, but we're like, no more funny, no more games, no more fun, no more jokes. Everything is so serious from now because there's no more time. And honestly, even there was a quote in the latest chapter of One Piece where Zoro and Sanji, they say, if we do this, we're right there. We're this close to making Luffy's dream come true. And that's significant because that just tells me we're almost there. We're almost at this pivotal point in the series where things are gonna start going crazy. There's no more fillers. There's no more side quests. This is all hitting it and running it. So, but yeah, that's my theory for Jinbei. I hope you guys really, really thought about all the things that I said. I hope it makes sense to you guys. I know maybe it wasn't the most articulate way of kind of getting that point across, but I hope it just gives you some ideas in regards to why I believe this could make sense. You could call it a theory, you could call it a reach, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Please let me know. Hit me up on the comments if you can. Just kind of give me your points and thoughts on what you think about this theory. Thank you guys so much for watching on that. Now, to my personal favorite theory, and this one is a bit of a long one. There have been some modifications of this. I believe when the theory like this came out, there have been different versions of this theory that came out. This one just so happens to be my version. Maybe some other people have similar ones or the same ones or whatever, but this is just what I truly believe, and at least to the degree that I believe it to be for this topic. And that is that is the relation between Rocks and Luffy. Yeah. I believe that Rocks is actually Luffy's grandfather. And I know what you're thinking. What? How the hell is that possible when Garp is the grandfather? Well, let me tell you something really, really, really cool. You ready? You can have more than one grandfather. Right now, there's so much in that world that we don't understand. And I feel like the main reason behind all of this is the one and most important character of all, which is Dragon, Luffy's father. We don't know squat about him. But there's certain things that have been mentioned through the series up to this point that, to me, help me put these pieces together and kind of give me this idea. We know that Garp and Goldie Roger fought Rocks. And we know that it was a climactic fight, but we don't know what happened in that fight. We just know that Rocks disappeared and that Garp took all the credit for winning that fight, and that Goldie Roger took none of the credit. That alone was enough to make Garp the hero. And he's very well known, very well respected, and he's the guy that everyone just like admires, right? The most powerful guy. You beat Rocks, you beat his crew. There's more to that later, but yeah. So, that being said, this is probably where I want to say the most reach portion comes into this theory. But it's just like the best way I could kind of feel this for this theory to work. And to me, it makes sense. There's some details that I can work through later. And there's another theory on this list that kind of adds to this. But we'll get to that later. But with all this being said, I believe the way this happened is Rox might not have necessarily been expecting the fight to go the way it did. And I think Rox escaped. And I think that he still put up a good fight, and that everyone else in the pirate crew, except for certain ones, were defeated thanks to Garp and to Goldie Roger. However, I feel that in the midst of all of this, Garp found a child, infant, and decided to not leave him alone in this place. And I feel like he adopted this child and treated him as his own. And I feel like this is where you could assume that this then was Dragon's son, if he had him with him during this time. And I know this part, like I said, is a bit more of the theory or the reach portion, but just hear me out. It'll all come together. So, with that said, Garp then takes Dragon into his own family fold, raises him like his own son. As he's raising this child like his own son, he meets Garp's daughter, Luffy's mother. He then falls in love with her. He then wants to marry her. She maybe plays a little hard to get, and so he decides to do something, and he joins the Marines. Then Dragon is now a Marine, high in the chain of command for Marines. I don't think as high as Garp, but nonetheless up there. And then, yeah, Garp has everything he wants. And then, Dragon marries his daughter. They get married. They have their beautiful child, Luffy. And then things get dark because, as we've seen, the Celestial Dragons get to do whatever the hell they want. I think that the Celestial Dragons saw Garp's daughter, Dragon's wife, and he decided to take him for himself as one of his wives. And I feel that Dragon then was like, no, the heck you don't. And he tried to stop them. And I feel like things were about to get real ugly, real fast. However, Garp, with his quick thinking, was able to subdue Dragon, maybe even scarring his side of the face and pinning him down. And because he's known as this hero of Marines, he was able to convince everyone to forgive Dragon for maybe losing his cool. And he used his name for that reason to just, use that power. And he saved Dragon. And now you would say, why would he do that? Well, because Garp isn't stupid. Garp knows that himself and Dragon combined couldn't possibly take on the entire Marine verse as well as the Celestial Dragons. You don't freaking do that. So this must have been Garp's only way to keep his family alive. I don't think Garp wanted that to happen to his daughter, for his daughter to be set with the Celestial Dragon, but it's better than everyone dying. So I think that he did it for this reason. I think Dragon then built a resentment towards Garp, not only because he stopped him, but because he feels he didn't have the balls needed to fight and save his own daughter. But at the same time, he mainly hates the Celestial Dragons for taking his wife, and just realized that the whole Marines, the whole everything is corrupted because no one did anything to save him and his family. And so now Dragon has this innate rage and desire for revenge, and will not stop at anything until he takes down the Celestial Dragons and gets his wife back, which would be Luffy's mother. That's kind of where I place Dragon's mentality. That's where I place his role, and that's how I see Dragon fitting into the family tree. Because if you look at Dragon doesn't necessarily look like Garp. And from what I recall, Dragon has never directly been called Garp's son, like directly, like that's my son. Dragon is my son. I know he's said that Luffy's his grandson, but he's never said Dragon himself is my son. Maybe he treats him like a son, but not biologically. I think that's where Luffy's mother comes in. And so that would make it so that Dragon then would belong to a different family tree, which again I would place it to be from Rocks. And so that's where Dragon went on his adventure to create the Revolutionary Army to take down Celestial Dragons, which is why he's the most wanted man. And that's why Garp absolutely despises Celestial Dragons and refuses to move up the chain of command, because he feels like firsthand he saw how he had zero power to protect his own family, and it was screwed away. But he's not stupid. He knows that there's something he can do. However, he does have power, so even with all of these things happening, he has not broken his determination to stay up there and watch things from where he's at. But at the same time, he doesn't want to risk leaving the Marine Corps, because the protection you get from there is intense, and he's a hero, so that just gives him status. And with that, Celestial Dragons don't really mess with you. His daughter ended up kind of being the exception, but I'm assuming that he thinks that just doesn't happen too often. So nonetheless, this is where I feel that Garp's mindset is, and why he is still in there, but why he just refuses to move up further up, because he refuses to bow to a group of people that are just horrible. So that's my opinion with that. So where does that put us? Again, the theory is Rox is Luffy's grandfather, right? Most of that was speculation, but then we got little details that kind of make this story fit. If you recall, when Goldie Roger was about to die or turn himself in, he went to Garp and he asked Garp to watch over Ace. He said that he's the only one he could trust with making sure that Ace doesn't die or get murdered because of everyone looking for him. And not only this, but he tells Garp that he went to him specifically because he knows he has a soft spot for children, no matter what background they come from. And to me, that's referring to the one time Garp and Goldie Roger fought together, were together. Goldie Roger saw Garp take in a child in need. And that's what gave Goldie Roger the idea that if anyone would protect his child under these terrible circumstances, it's someone who's already done it before. And the only other time we've seen him do this with is with Luffy, but Luffy was already his grandson, so it couldn't have been Luffy. The only other person it could have been with would be Dragon. So I feel like that right there is a huge push towards what I'm trying to get through for my theory, that he really is that Dragon really is Rox's son. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so that's another very interesting theory. A lot of speculation into that one. Not as much concrete evidence as some of the other ones. But I feel like the story fits well. And I feel like that conversation between Goldie Roger and Garp really solidifies it, because nothing else can... It could be nothing else in terms of like what Goldie Roger was talking about there. So, yeah, we'll go with that one. Whew. Yeah, that was a good one. But that's my personal favorite theory. Hopefully you guys liked it. I know it's a lot of reach going on in there, but again, if you guys have any questions, thoughts, ideas, inputs into this, please leave them in the comments. Let me know what you guys think in regards to this. I want to make sure that these theories that I have are somewhat contested, so that way, you know, I can make more of a educated assumption or direction for these theories, because maybe they are right in some sense, but just the details need to be tweaked, and just talking about it with people really does help that. So but yeah, again, thank you so much for watching that theory. I appreciate you guys. The next two theories are not as big, but I do want to talk about them because I feel like they haven't been brought up enough. The first one is Blackbeard's journey with Luffy. Yes, a lot of times I hear people talking about how they are the yin and yang. Their fruits are two same ones, different ones, whatever, and that they both have somewhat of a similar destiny. But I don't feel like people are necessarily taking that into context only in terms of them having the final fight in the end. I truly believe that Blackbeard at one point in the next arc potentially will team up with Luffy. I feel like Blackbeard and Luffy will share a common enemy and will team up to take him down. And I feel like things are not going to go as pleasant as possible. It's already said that Shanks more than likely is going to appear before the end of the year. I feel like Shanks is going to warn Luffy about teaming up with him. I feel like, nonetheless, Blackbeard, he wants the same thing as Luffy. He wants the destruction of the Grand Line. He wants pirates to be free. He wants pirates to have complete freedom. Now, their definitions of complete freedom may be different. However, the goal is nonetheless to not be held by the tyranny of the Marines or Celestial Dragons. So I do believe that to a point they will work together. And it just, to me, it only makes sense because if you think about it, all the back and forth that they've been having through the series, and the fact that he has the Quake fruit, like, if anyone has the ability to destroy the Grand Line, it'll probably be Luffy. Or I'm sorry, it'll probably be Blackbeard. I really do feel like there may be a point where Luffy gets consumed by darkness from all the anger he may have, that he may somewhat agree with Blackbeard to take everything down. However, I think that some sense gets knocked back into him, And before Blackbeard does succeed at destroying the Black at the Grand Line, I do believe Luffy will use his awakening to prevent that with his Gomu Gomu no fruit, so that the Quake Quake fruit can't destroy anything because it's all rubber. So I feel like that'll cause a dilemma between them, and that's when their fight begins. But before that, I do feel that Luffy and Blackbeard will join at a point to face their common enemy, because Luffy's crew's already practically destroyed from this whole freaking fight with Kaido and Big Mom. They're going straight over there to save Sabo. There's no time to heal. There's no time to do anything. Barely any. Law is going to have his freaking hands filled with just healing everyone before they get to the next destination. But nonetheless, yeah. That's pretty much what I think about the Blackbeard one. But the next one is for Shanks. I think that Shanks also knows the truth about Luffy, or I should say the Gomu Gomu no fruit. And I think he knew about this before even Luffy was born. I think that there's no way someone risks their limbs, their body limbs, on a whim on something like that. But I don't think he did it because of Luffy. I honestly feel like he did it because I feel like Shanks knows the truth about the timeline. Goldie Rogers said that it wasn't time yet. In the future, it will be the time will come, but it wasn't time yet. And so he tasked Shanks to prepare the generation that will be the one to do it, and he tasked him to make sure that he was there to make sure everything went through successfully. I feel like he knew that when this devil fruit came to be, it could not disappear again. If someone ate it and it disappeared to find it, it would screw up the timeline. So I feel like he didn't necessarily give his arm to save Luffy. He gave his arm to make sure the fruit didn't disappear. Because if it ate Luffy, it ate the one with the fruit. And therefore, to find the fruit again, God knows how long that would take. And I feel like it's because he knows that the fruit is the key to solving whatever needs to happen for whatever prophecy to be resolved. And I think Shanks knows this. And I think that's why Shanks is so dedicated to this fruit and to Luffy and everything. He also doesn't really get involved in Luffy's journey. This is Luffy's journey alone, and he only will meet him when the time is right. But even then, when Luffy got himself in some real trouble, that's when he came to make sure that Luffy did not die. He said, this war is done. Like, leave my boy alone. So, yeah. That's crazy, man. It's a lot of different topics on that one. But yeah. And then we're about to get into the most controversial theory that I have. So sit back, stretch your arms. Oh man, this one's gonna be good. I don't think I've heard anyone mention what I'm about to say. Maybe the title of it, you're like, oh, I've heard that before. Everyone's saying that. But the details of it, I think that's where you're going to be like, what? All right. Here we go. Are you ready? Big Mom will not go down on this Wano arc and will instead somehow, some way team up with Luffy and help him in some way, shape, or form going into the future. I know a lot of you are like, oh yeah, well, yeah, a lot of people are theorizing that Big Mom isn't going down this arc. There's just, she's planning on betraying Kaido and all that. Yeah, okay. Let's start with those clues, right? Let's start with those. Yeah, Big Mom has mentioned in cryptic ways that she's planning on betraying Kaido. Not only that, but she hasn't really made any efforts to involve herself and or her crew in taking down the Straw Hats. Matter of fact, she's actually helped the Straw Hats more than anything. Yes, she had that climactic fight with Kaido against the five, the five. That's just what I'm going to call them. It is five, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. And, which was a fantastic fight scene. However, I feel like Big Mom will not hurt, per se, to an extent, Luffy. Specifically. So that's why she was okay with hurting Zoro and everyone else that's in the crew. Not necessarily wanting to kill them, but doesn't bat an eye for them necessarily. Oof. Alright, here we go. Perospero, from what we see, is the only one who's actually made any effort to try to take down any Straw Hat members, especially in the latest chapter. He kind of went for it. But aside from Perospero, no one really has done anything. And matter of fact, where are they? So I feel like they're there for a different purpose. They're supposedly going to team up with them because Big Mom is making them because of this alliance. That's what Perospero said. But then again, we'll see how that kind of goes. But just the point is there's inclinations that Big Mom already doesn't plan on using her forces to help Kaido, because they haven't been helping Kaido at all. Aside from Perospero, specifically targeting the Straw Hats, there hasn't been any help from the Big Mom pirates. So, and the reason is I believe that she has a bigger role coming up in the future. This is where my theory becomes very, very unique. I believe that there is a very good chance that Big Mom herself is also related to Luffy. And now you're like, what are you talking about? I believe that Big Mom, in her young, beautiful days, was somewhat of a flirt. You kind of get that feeling when Kaido sees her and he calls her Ling Ling, and it seems like he's doing it in an affectionate way. So it feels like there was something in their past. However, we don't really know the details of it. But then it makes you think, was there something in their past? And if there was, why is there so much friction between them now? We don't know why they split up. We don't know why Big Mom and Kaido became enemies, especially if they had that interest back in the day. Okay, the crew split up, but what did that have to do with them two specifically? They both became, emperors in their own right and did their own thing. Yet this is the first time they see each other in a long time, and they obviously had that feud. The second they saw each other, they went for it. But then after a while, they were very affectionate per se. It just makes me think. Why? Why is it that with that history, they have that feud? And it made me think, well, Big Mom was somewhat of a flirt. And if you don't believe me, ask her countless children that she has. Countless. I know that I think they gave a specific number, but the point is that she has a lot. She definitely got around. And then that brings me back to, oh, wait a minute. What about What about, and I'll say this one more time, what about rocks? What if what if rocks having Kaido as a subordinate or as an apprentice caused some friction between Rocks and Kaido because Big Mom ended up sleeping with the both of them. Maybe he slept with Rocks and then Kaido was like, yo, for real? That's how you're gonna do me? And she was like, he's the captain, and she just like, this is the stuff I do. And maybe she was the one who gave birth to Dragon. And then, I know this is getting so juicy, after she gives birth to Dragon, Rox is so proud of his heir. However, Kaido is not happy at all about this. And so that causes friction between the top pirates. And so what happens is somewhat of a fallout happens between the pirates. Big Mom and Kaido have this all-out fight. Maybe it even included some other pirates that were in the top class. And then they all kind of went their own way. And then Rox said, I don't care what you do. I'm sticking with my son. Because he's my son. And so he kept Dragon. And then, if you think about it, and this is where things get a little crazy. When Goldie Roger and Garp fought Rocks pirates, we don't know if and anything in regards to Big Mom or Kaido or Whitebeard being there. If they were there, I don't think Garp and Goldie Roger combined could have taken that whole crew down. I don't think it's possible. I think really the main force that stopped them was Rox himself, which only is another testament to his power, but I don't think that the top pirates, like I said, Big Mom and Kaido and Whitebeard, were there. I don't think that would have been a fair match. We already seen how close Whitebeard and Goldie Roger alone is. Imagine throwing Kaido and Big Mom and Rox. Garp handling all of that? No. So I think that they weren't even in the picture when this war happened. I think at this point they had already split. I think Big Mom said, that's fine, you can keep Dragon. I have plenty of other people and kids to have, so I'm not even worried about it. I think that there's even a chance that before, after, in the mix, she also could have slept with Kaido. She also could have had Kaido's kid, who's Yamato, because we don't know her mother either. And maybe that's another problem that he has with Big Mom, is that he wanted a son like Rox got a son, except he got a daughter. And so he keeps calling his daughter his son, and that might be a problem. From what I've seen, Big Mom has not confronted Yamato. I haven't seen it. I don't know. But to me, there's a really good chance Yamato could be also that. We don't know. We just don't know. So, but that would imply that Big Mom slept with both Kaido and Rox, potentially even with Whitebeard for that one kid that says he's Whitebeard's kid. I don't know if that's true or not, but Big Mom got around. And we can't deny that she got around, because look at how many kids she has. Look at how many family members she has. It's crazy to think that that's a real possibility. It really is. And maybe the reason those specific kids didn't stay with her, it's because it's freaking rocks and it's freaking Kaido, you know? So that's why they got to keep their kids. Because they were like, no, we're not just any other guy you're going to screw. We're cream of the crop. We're the tip of the spear. We're keeping our generation, our offspring, to lead after we go. So, yeah. Yeah. There's a good chance Big Mom truly is the mother of Yamato and Dragon. And she might have not even thought twice about it. Who knows? Who knows? So, now that I got the crazy information out of the way, let's tie it back to how Big Mom will not fall in this arc and potentially aids Luffy in the next arc, or in the next one. If it is true that this is the case, there's a chance Big Mom also knows this to some extent. And if she does, she may have a soft spot for that lineage. She may be like, okay, I can't watch over my son, but I know Garp took Dragon in. I know Dragon had a son, and I know that he became a pirate just like me. So maybe Big Mom has been watching over Luffy as his grandmother this whole time, and has been making sure that Luffy would join because all her kids have joined. Maybe she didn't want to drop that bombshell earlier, but there's a chance Big Mom has been secretly keeping an eye on him ever since he entered this world. And if you think about it, it's almost hard to deny because her name is Big Mom. Big Mom! The mom of all the important characters. Big Mom! That's perfect! It's such a perfect name for her. It's not just Big Mom because she's literally big, or because she has a shit ton of kids, but because she's the mother of some of the most important characters in the entire series. There's a big chance that's why her name truly is Big Mom. And if that's the case, not only will she have some contempt towards Kaido, but she would then have to say, do I want to favor an ex-lover or do I want to favor my family? And she may very well favor her family. You know how close she is with her kids, though sometimes she loses her mind. I think there's a really good chance that because of this, she will assist Luffy. Because at the end of the day, she just wants her family together. And if that's the case, Yamato would be Luffy's half-sister. Ish. Cousin? Half-cousin? I want to say half-cousin. Yeah, half-cousin. Something like that, right? Because they share the same grandmother, but different fathers. Or aunt. Yamato could be his aunt, per se. Like half aunt or something. Yeah. So yeah, she could be Luffy's aunt. You don't even freaking know it. So, and how would she know? She's been raised by this freaking brute this whole time. So, that's how Luffy would get another member to his family. That's how he would grow his family. Man, that's crazy. Even just to fathom. That's freaking insane. But yeah, that's my belief on why I believe that Big Mom will not go down this arc. We know that she's intending to betray Kaido, but we don't know exactly why, the history behind all of them is, or what's leading for all of this to happen, besides some stupid feud over the One Piece, I know that she wants it too. I know that she cares, but she hasn't gone for it this whole time, and neither has Kaido. And now they're going to. Maybe she wants to betray him a little bit for that, but at the same time, I believe that there's honestly a percentage or a chance that this does have to do with Luffy's lineage. Wow, that's a rabbit hole if there ever was one, right? But yeah. Tell me what you guys think about this theory. I know this one was definitely an interesting one, not your typical One Piece theory, more of a reach, but I still think it's something worth listening to and kind of paying attention to those details. Again, just plop those story details together. Tell me what you guys think. Do you guys think I'm crazy? Do you guys think the theory is completely out of hand? Is it possible? Maybe. Who knows? Leave it in the comments below. Please let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. And then the final theory, because then what's the seventh thing is just the discussion for the final arc. The arc coming up after this one. But the final theory I have for tonight is sort of a mix of two different theories. And again, this ties to the first Jinbei theory that I had, but in a different way. So I'll get to that. But the final theory I have, the sixth theory, is we already know what Gear 5th is and going to be, but also that we already have the tools needed for Luffy to unlock more than just that and potentially get his awakening. And again, this has to do with Jinbei's death. And that's my earlier theory that I made, that Jinbei will die. That'll serve as a catalyst for Luffy. But yeah, so Luffy is, as we know, mastering Rio. But not only is he mastering Rio, he is also mastering the concept of how to use Conqueror's Haki as its own coding. And we've already been shown that Luffy has, to a degree, mastered how to use that to fight. He's essentially used it to the level that Goldie Roger and Whitebeard displayed when they fought each other. Luffy has officially reached the stage where he could do that, but he has only shown that to us in the stage of he's only shown that to us in the stage of his basic form. We haven't seen him use that in his gear 2, 3, 4 or anything like that. So it's only clear to think that Luffy will then incorporate the same tactics he uses for Gear 4th, except instead of his armament Haki, he will code himself with his Conqueror's Haki. And I believe that is what Gear 5th is going to be. It's going to be the best way I could imagine it is like a Snake Man, but the coding color is different. Maybe he's red, and maybe he's not as elastic, but the concept is that he will essentially take the form that he already has with Gear 4, but with a different coding instead. And to me, that would be a perfect Gear 5th, because this is a totally different form of strength and fighting style and technique and ability, and it might work differently in terms of how long it could last. We know how his armament Haki can drain, but we don't know how his Conqueror's Haki can last. But we do know, however, that Luffy's Conqueror's Haki is insane. It's insanely strong. He's able to knock down 50,000 people like that, the blink of an eye. To me, that tells me that his Conqueror's haki is eons above his Armament haki. And not just that, but he's mastered Ryo. So he knows how to implement it efficiently now. So if you have the ability to implement something efficiently, the ability to do a lot with it, and then you have a form that you've already have practiced with, then if you implement that into it, then not only is this going to be a stronger, more deadly form of the technique, the endurance level on that should be significantly higher too, and the output that you do should be significantly higher too. So I believe that that's going to be that gear 5th that Luffy is going to acquire to defeat Kaido. I believe that's how it's going to happen. I feel like that's going to be the strength that Luffy needs to get past that hurdle. How does he acquire this? I believe that he already kind of has an idea on how to acquire this. Now that he's finally reached that stage, he's healed. I don't know if he knows exactly how to put them together yet. I'm hoping he figures it out in the next 15 minutes, because that's how long it takes for an Englishman to get to where it's going. But nonetheless, yeah, I believe that that's going to be how he does that. As I mentioned, though, I don't think Luffy's going to succeed even with that. I believe that this is a huge way to finish the fight between Kaido and Luffy. If Luffy's able to master this, there's a chance that Luffy does succeed using this to defeat Kaido with it. But I don't know. It just depends. It depends on what Luffy uses fighting Kaido next. If he tries the same thing again against Kaido, then I believe that Gear 5th will be how he beats Kaido. If he goes Gear 5th, then I believe the Awakening is how he beats Kaido. Or at least it's a combination of Gear 5th and the help of his teammates. Or, his Nakama. So, what happens here is, I believe that Jinbei, as I mentioned earlier, will give his life to save Luffy. Maybe because Luffy's trying to make this combination work, but he hasn't done it before. He needs practice. And so as he's test running this, Kaido's just banging on him. And so it causes Luffy to lose again, and it causes this whole scene where Jinbei takes the blunt force and then, convinces Luffy to don't be sad, to just remember what he told him in Archipelago. And then I feel like this is where the crew then holds him off while Luffy kind of does this thing in his mind and then figures out how to calmly make this technique work. And then he manages to successfully perfect Gear 5th. And I feel like that perfecting of Gear 5th, plus the help of his crewmates, could be what he uses to defeat Kaido. If that doesn't work, then I feel like, or if that doesn't happen, the alternative I think is that Luffy will then go from Gear 5th to failing, as I just made the example, to then learning how to use his Awakening to defeat Kaido. That could be another alternative as well. So that's essentially that. Now, the reason this is important is because there's another person that could also be the one that dies. Earlier, I made the theory that it could be Jinbei, and I believe that to be the case. All the clues hint to that. However, there's also a chance that it could be Zoro. Zoro already has taken an immense amount of damage. Plus, he just took a shot that gives him the ability to be healed, but the pain will be twice as bad when it's done and over with. We know that he has the ability to take a lot of pain, but this is every broken bone in his body already. He's already in an insane amount of pain. This fight that he's about to do against Queen and King, it's not gonna be a swift victory. So you can only imagine that Zoro is also gonna take some damage from this fight as well. So Zoro's already going to be at his breaking point. When the medicine wears off and the pain comes to him twice as bad, he's practically gonna explode. Like, there is no Akuma to take the pain away. There's nothing that can happen here. The only way I see Zoro surviving this is either Law does his operation on Zoro to keep him alive, or him, Chopper, and any other doctor in the area, and Marco all focus on Zoro to keep him alive. I don't see that happening. It's very unlikely, in my opinion, that Zoro comes out of this okay. So, honestly, it could go either way. It really could go either way. I can see it both ways. However, I know that there's been a lot of speculation that Zoro was going to be the one that died from a long time ago due to Chapter 944's cover page, because there's a lot of things on that cover page that kind of make it seem like Zoro's the one that dies. He has the skull on his back and everything that says Ultimo that dies. But if you look at that cover page, there's actually a lot there that also points towards Jinbei. Because Ultimo in Spanish means last. He could be it could be referring to the last crewmate. Once the last crewmate comes, they will die. Or it could also mean once the last crewmate comes, then Zoro dies. Let's see what else. The other thing in the bottom of the shirt, it says mejor, or in other words, the best. We don't know what mejor could essentially be indicating, but the best, we could take it as in many different ways, but it could be talking about the best second hand, like, or the strongest crew member in the crew, or it could be talking with the one with the highest bounty. It could be talking about quite a few different things. And honestly, yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, it could be either one. But the reason I still think it could point towards Jinbei is because if you look at this cover page, there's nothing but zombies all over the place. And all the predominant zombies that appear on this cover page towards the front are all blue. All of them. They're all blue. Like Jinbei. So just looking at this cover page, it really could be that the Ultimo, the last pirate to join the Straw Hats, will die, and it's implemented that it's all in blue because he becomes a zombie because of Jinbei. It really could be Jinbei, even with this art. So that only pushes my first theory further. But again, it could also work for Zoro. However, I don't know. It's just, I don't see Zoro dying, but as I said earlier, I don't know how he's gonna make it out of this unscathed, because like he's definitely gonna be feeling it. And I don't know who's going to save him. Like, he's already gotten the best medication, and it comes with the price of double the pain. So, I don't know. I really do think Law's going to have to do his surgery operation on him, because I don't know how this is going to go. Yeah. Yeah. It could be that both Jinbei and Zoro are essentially on their deathbeds. Jinbei does take the blunt hit for fucking Luffy, and he is about to die, but then Zoro's also about to die because Zoro's all the damage he's taken and everything, and then Law could only do the operation on one of them, and then Luffy has to choose, but he doesn't know he can't choose, so Jinbei says to let Zoro take the surgery instead, since he's been there officially longer and everything, which honestly makes it for an even more impactful finish. So, and that's how the two of them can be involved in this whole moment. So, yeah, it really could be that that's what happens. So, it's not unlikely. Um, oof, that's crazy stuff, right? Man. But yeah, with all of this happening, I feel like this is going to be more than enough of a catalyst to get Luffy and the crew on a way more serious note to get things done. I think this is what's going to push them to really go above and beyond and make sure that nothing happens to Sabo and Vivi and all of that. So, yeah, that's my theory on that one. But let me know what you guys think. If you think that theory makes sense, all of the things that I was just talking about in regards to Luffy's Gear Fit potential, as well as the awakening, maybe that all combines with the crew. What do you guys think about those theories? Leave them in the comments section. Let me know what you think. If I'm crazy, if I'm not. It's nice to just have these kind of conversations. I read the comments, so please go ahead and let me know what you guys think. If you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe. I appreciate all the love that you guys can do here for me. Thank you so much for that. And then the final one that I'm going to talk about here today is the final war arc. I mean, I feel like I've touched on it already, but essentially, yeah. With all of these theories combined and the potential death of one or more characters in the Straw Hat crew, I feel like the tone for the series is just going to change completely. I don't feel like One Piece... I feel like even the opening is going to change completely. It's going to be dark. It's going to be a lot darker. It's not going to be that happy-go-lucky reach for the sunrise and all of that. You know, I think it's going to take a really dark turn. And I think it's crazy to even think, but honestly, it's very possible. It's in my opinion, the direction that the series is going. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see how that goes. I'm excited to see how that war arc goes, and hopefully no one dies, man. Especially not Jim Baker. That's my dude. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream here with me today, and yeah, let me know what you guys think. Until next time, again, my name is Jose, aka Jark. This is my channel, Pine Streams. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, until next time.